'cause I'm Cardiff born and Cardiff bred. When I dies I'll be Cardiff dead. They'll build a little floating spot in memory of me.
Welcome, boys. Croeso to the first episode of our RagsCast, where we'll just recap the season. So we might as well just crack on with it. Number one, thanks for your time and for being here. Been quite the first block, finishing at top of the league after the first block. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think it's really pleasing that we've out of the 7 games we won 6 of them. We started off really well up in RGC, and it's probably not a bad one to start your season off with, because you have to go up there and you probably kind of see where you're at in terms of all the work you've done through the pre-season, and then you obviously get that bus journey back, which gives you that opportunity to have a like we did, a few beers on the bus on the way back, and an opportunity to get those boys to bond and sing song, and I think that's really important, especially at the semi-pro level.
Goes down a bit better after a win, I suppose.
Oh, it definitely does. Yeah, it definitely does.
And from a player point of view, Sean, going up there, it's it's quite a feat. First game of the season, as they have been doing well, after that game. So a lot to take from that game to start off.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, we managed to get the win up there. There's been a few teams who we attribute the top half of the table who've not turned over up there. So I think that's going to be a tough place to go for a lot of teams this year.
And introducing new players as well. Turnbull won his first hat-trick in that game.
Yeah.
Plenty of tries. They came back in the end, but managed to seal it off with a win and a bonus point.
Yeah, so that was really good character from boys at the end of the game to obviously see that out, making sure we get that win. Like I said, the first game, big turnover with the amount of boys we got coming into the squad this year. That was a good first one to get under our belts as a team.
And a totally different game then for the second one on a Thursday night against Cebu Vale in round 2. Kind of expecting more of a forward-orientated game from them, which they did bring, but chose a big pack from that game and totally matched them up straight away.
Yeah, I think you look at Ebbw Vale, they drive most of their line out. So like a priority for us that week was, we had a short week, we only had one training session, was how could we nullify that set piece? And I think we stole a lot of their line out early on, and then throughout the game we were able to pinch ones, and probably important ones, which in the context of the game and where it was at the time, it was quite tight early on, but if you stop their set piece, you stop their maul, you don't give them opportunities to maul and get penalties and kick the corner and then maul again. We took that away from them, so we were then able to imprint our game on them and move a big pack about, and we did that really well. And to be fair, I think the way Fishies wanted to play the game this year, move the ball about, play with a lot of speed, a lot of tempo, and get the ball in and flow in, and we can do that with our artificial pitch out there.
But in that Cebu Vale game, fronted up with a pack, we scored from driving mauls as well, which is quite happy about that.
Yeah, like I said, that's one of the things we've tried working on this year as well. Like I said, make sure we are getting go forward the ball for the backs off our driving maul. Like I said, obviously in our Cebu Vale game, it did work well.
I know 2 good wins, great to start off, especially the first away, having the first win away. You're looking at round 3 and 4 then, back to back against Carwyn Glyn. It was a tough place to go down there, pitch is quite narrow, but the best time of year to go, rather go there at that time of year than Christmas time, so the mist come up from the River Towie. But what do you say, losing that game at the 31-19, the first 20 to 30 minutes, every time they got in the 22, they scored. Was that a bit of a reality check, would you say, after being on the way for 2 wins?
I think having coached Quins for the past couple of years, Cardiff had a bit of a hoodoo over them the last few years, especially the wins up here. I think it was 70 points one year, 80 points the other year. Just beat Quins at home last year. But in terms of the last, say, 4 games, Cardiff have won them, and so I think possibly the mindset was a little bit going down there, possibly expecting to know we had 2 really good wins previous, but in all credit to them, they fronted up. Their maul has been going really well this year. They've got quite a young squad, but if you look at their team, they've also got some good experience, and those players who you probably the most valuable and most experienced players came to the fore that day, and they really stepped up, and they got that W. And full credit to them, we won the races that first half an hour. And in terms of going back to Fisher's game plan, being a team that moves the ball, we only tipped the ball once in the first half, and we did that. We had a line break, but then we tried to get a bit too confrontational, and on a narrow pitch, it kind of plays into their hands really. You know, with the big defenders they've got, you know, it just made it a little bit harder for us.
You know, being down that much, you know, and then being in control, managed to come back with a few points. But you know, how do you G up the players to come back from that? Because it's, you know, it's quite a battle from that amount down.
Yeah, like I said, like to start that game, we obviously a lot of players probably thought that game was going to be over before we even started. And like I said, all credit to Carwyn Glyn. They beat us 1-15. They just got on top of the game line. As soon as they got into 22, just our defence was not good enough. And like I said, we knew then coming out second half to get anything out of that game, we had to try and change the way we played. And like I said, with the little tips on second half, we come back a few points, but like in the end of it, it just wasn't good enough at the end.
The total flip of the coin to the week after to come back at home 50-0 and with a red card as well, down to 14 men, kept a clean sheet. You know, what's the difference in 2 weeks?
I think a few of those players who maybe hadn't fronted up that first 20 minutes had a point to prove, and it made it a little bit easier then because you know, the messages were that we needed to stop them early doors. Again, I think we played a little bit devil's advocate in terms of changing things defensively against them away in our line-out. They prepped the following week expecting us to do something. We did something completely different. Again, took strength of theirs away from their line-out. The first 5 line-outs when we stole them or they overthrew, and you know, it put us in a real good position. And I think that's something that, you know, as a group, we want to, if you can stop other team set piece, it really puts you in a strong position then to imprint yourself on opposition, because defensively you're on top, either stealing it from the set piece or within the first 3 phases, and then you know, you can go and do what you want to do then with the ball in hand.
And, you know, keeping a clean sheet after, you know, going under 14 men and going off with a red card. Losing a forward, you know, from your point of view, is it easier to lose a forward than a back by choice?
As a pack, it probably is easier with our shape because we can play 3-3-1 on the edge each side. So it's just losing that one in the wide channel. For most of it, doesn't really make a difference. Just back's got to ruck jump a little bit more. But apart from that, it was alright. It was a good test for us as well defensively, being down to 14 to see how hard we were willing to work as a team for each other. And like I said, to come away from that with 0 points conceded, that was a big plus for us.
I think on that as well, it's once you get so clear, and then there's the last 20 minutes left, you can become a little bit complacent. You can switch off a little bit, and I think you know, credit to the boys. You know, defensively they were ruthless, and to keep that score to 0 was really pleasing. And the boys, you know, afterwards, I think they were a lot happier than they were the week before anyway.
Would you say then sometimes you're going to be complacent? Sometimes it's easier to try harder, would you say? Or overcompensate?
Yeah, and I think, you know, we were a couple of tries up by the time I'd gone off anyway. So it was, you know, for us, it was just keep doing the same. You know, you have to manage things. Like I think we ended up with Sean was off the field as well, and then we ended up with Jason Harris as a +1 in the line-out. So, you know, at one point we were down to 13 men. So, you know, it's you know, it's. But I think we were in a position where, you know, we were in control, and as long as everyone knew what they were doing, you know, it was easy for us to keep the ball.
Your confidence back on track after that. I think going down to St Helens, going behind quite early, but then fighting back then to edge it out at the end. So, you know, even, you know, we're 15-0 up, the confidence to come back must be there as well.
Yeah, I didn't play those games, but like I said, it was massive for the younger boys. Like I said, we went down. I think second half, I think we were 15 points down coming out, and we scored like 3 tries in 6 minutes or something like that. So just goes to show when we have got ball in hand. Like I said, some of the backs we've got are really dangerous, and like I said, just credit to them.
And that's the self-belief in the squad then?
Yeah, look, we probably had a little bit of that Swansea game and our Brabham game. We probably had a little bit of our own medicine from the first couple of games where we didn't have a set piece. Yeah. And, you know, it took Swansea scoring a couple of tries before we actually woke up. And, you know, when we, you know, shortened down our line out and one ball, we were able to then imprint what we wanted to do on the game. And some little bits of individual brilliance from a Steph Manuel or Elijah Evans, Tombo, and they're boys who can create chances quite easily, and if someone's creating it, the other one's finishing it off. So and that's the pleasing thing. Those boys have really stepped up this year as well, those youngsters.
It seems the pattern of the dealing with everything in the second half has been quite a big thing, because I think it was, for the right game I'm thinking of, Aberafon at home was a draw at half time, if I can remember. Second half, then they didn't have a look in. Bridgend, they scored a few tries early and then coming back. So there must be a good sense of belief in the squad.
I think also the work the boys have put in, credit to them, they've pushed each other through pre-season, and again through the last couple of weeks, they've really worked hard on their conditioning, because we don't have a team that drops off. And if we want to play open, expansive rugby and play the way Cardiff do, then we have to be able to move the ball, but we have to be fit enough to do it, and we have to be playing for 80 minutes, 90 minutes, and that I think we've been the stronger team in those second halves when teams have started to drop off. Then we've capitalised with this intercepts, knock-ons. We've then intercepted, transitioned well into attack, and we've scored some real nice tries from that. The Aberafon game again, they starved us with a little bit of possession early doors. We had a lot of, especially from set piece, they caused a few problems there, but we had the majority of the territory in possession. We just couldn't execute anything, and then it kind of was even Stevens half time, and then we came out and we fronted up, and we scored a cheeky little try down the front into the 22, and it just probably pulled us away a little bit then.
The same, with the Bridgend in the last game. Some of the tries in the second half are fantastic.
Yeah, like I said, it's just credit to the boys. Like I said, Fisher's given us that license to go out there and express ourselves and play rugby. And like I said, some of the boys and the youngsters have been taken to that massively. Like I said, we just want to push ourselves, push our skills, and just challenge other teams.
Because even though, if you look at the league table as it stands, obviously, the tables don't lie, but a lot of the games have been closer. The results have been closer than, Newport were going well, and then they're losing to Llandovery, which opened the top four up. Bridgend was sitting in fourth for a while. Pontypool have come up stronger in the end, and you add in this extra bonus point, the 15 points now, with all a few minutes. So it has closed down a bit, but after the first block, you've got to be happy with just one loss there.
Yeah, I think if you look, if we'd probably turned up and fronted up that first 20 minutes, half an hour, it could have been different. And again, I think now the boys know there's another point on offer to be 15 points clear. And I think that comes down to that just being ruthless. Once you've got that 15 points, just being ruthless enough to not concede anymore. And it's probably that one against Swansea where it got away from us. They scored right at the end, and we were desperate to keep them out. But hopefully that doesn't come back to bite us in the backside.
Do you think that this extra bonus point to the 15 points ahead has added something to the league?
Yeah, definitely. I think, like I said before, some teams would probably be happy to see the game out last 10 minutes, say 8 points ahead, happy to take the points. But now, if you're 8 points ahead or 6 points ahead, you would think, go to the corner, you want to play rugby. And like I said, for fans as well, that is always good to watch. Obviously, you're going out there to score tries, to win games rather than be happy just by winning 1 or 2 points.
So do you think the end of the block has stalled a bit of momentum?
Hope not. Hopefully we can, Llandovery this weekend, we can get back on track, get straight back on track and continue with this momentum of winning games. And, they've now got an artificial pitch. They're probably adapting and getting used to it, where we as a group have been on it for a number of years now. So we know how to play our type of game. Hopefully the weather holds out and it can be a nice day Saturday and we can go up there and express ourselves.
If I just go back a minute to the break, what has been important for you to concentrate on in the 4 weeks off?
So it's been like a few sessions, we had like a mini pre-season, which has been hard. So, but like I said, it's just good to keep those top-ups in, to make sure those game replacements ready for Llandovery, so we're not going into those games undercooked.
To talk, Llandovery are brewing at the moment. They have picked up after a bit of a shaky start. It's still a tough place to go. As you mentioned, a different pitch, which would suit our backline as well. But still a tough place to go. They're going to never rule them out, especially down there. I think this season is the first time they've lost at home for 2 seasons. I think he lost against Vale, didn't he?
Yeah.
For 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So it
But
proves.
to be fair, the brand of rugby they've played the last couple of years has been good. They are expansive. They do like to play a lot from their own half and deep, especially on that transition, that turnover, and also credit to Ross down there. He's got that. He's got a real good strong pack, and when they're playing well, they're a match for anyone in the league.
And you're talking about the back line there now with the pitch they've got, because when they click, they do play great stuff in the backs. If the weather plays into it, and could be a high scoring game.
Hopefully not. Just kidding. For us, yes.
I said,
For us, yes.
One-sided.
Yeah, one-sided high scoring game.
Yeah.
But no, quality players like Lee Reese, like Rodri and Adam Warren in the centres. They could be a handful. And what the other Warren on the wing. They can be quite difficult players, and they'll probably end up with a couple of young Scarlets and the rest of the back line. And again, I think it's like it's giving these young players the opportunity to go and express themselves in a competitive league, and that's ultimately what this league was designed to do.
As you mentioned that, giving young players a chance, I think there's quite a good balance in the Cardiff squad. There's not many in betweens. You've got a lot of players who have kind of been there for a while, and then you've got a lot of new players.
Yeah.
So what do you say now? There's got a big squad for rotation, because everybody's given a go.
I'd say one thing we've got this year, which we haven't had for the last few years, is competition for places. Like I said, the last few years if we had 1 or 2 injuries, we've struggled. But now, obviously, boys are fighting every week just to make sure you get to start the week after. And I think that's massive because, like I said, it just brings competition, and everybody wants to pull their starting jersey on every week.
It's healthy, and nearly all the teams have bought into that. To get the cycle of young players in, and that's what they wanted out of the league.
Yeah.
But looking at the second block, as we said, now Goodness Llandovery is quite tough. It's quite a tasty second block. And look at Llandovery away, Pontypool at home. Pontypool been playing well all season. Craig Evans just been appointed to the coaching system there as well with Tom Hancock. So they play an expansive game. They don't just rely on forwards. So they'll be putting a good fight up here as well.
Like I said, last year they turned us over down here. So like I said, we don't want that happening this year. So we want to be able to run them about. Like I said, they have got a big pack. Like I said, we can more than match up to that. We just got to make sure we turn up on the day and, like I said, start well.
And then obviously, Newport home and away either side of Christmas. Starting with Newport at home. So that'll be. Is it better to play them at home first before going down there?
I don't think it makes much difference, to be honest. Like I said, I don't know if playing at Rodney.
No home advantage.
I'm not too sure, but I think they're one of the form teams in the league for the past couple of seasons, and I think ultimately if you want to win the league, you're going to have to beat the best teams, and Newport, Llandovery, Pontypool in that top four. You're going to have to front up and beat Ebervale's another team. So in terms of the next 4 fixtures, they're all top 4 teams. So in terms of us testing ourselves, it's exactly where we want to be. At the moment, we're the ones with the target on the back because we're at the top of the table. So we want to stay there.
I'd say Newport got a game in hand as well, because the game against Aberafon was called off, so they'll be looking to push any points or bonus points on top of that. And obviously you've got Swansea then, who have been struggling this year. The last game of the block before the internationals, they'll be coming down here, so it'll be more of an expansive game with the weather. So I'm going to run them about again.
To be fair, they've played a lot of youngsters this year. They're doing their part for the Ospreys in terms of giving those younger players an opportunity, similar to us. They just haven't had the run of the green, and there's a number of games where they've lost within 1 score, and they'll get their W at some point, and hopefully it won't be against us.
Yeah.
But again, it's an opportunity for us to go and imprint ourselves on them, and I think when you've got senior players like Sean in your team, the Huddy brothers, Alan Reese, they can then they know what to do on the field, and when you're playing against younger players, they probably may not have that experience. So these guys have been there and done it, and they'll know what we need to do the next couple of weeks to make sure we stay at top.
Because you are right, they are going to get the W at some point, because even against Pontypool down at St Helens, up to the last 20, they were competitive. Lewis Edwards 17 on the wing, still in sixth form.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of pressure, but it's a good bit of game time.
They actually play their minutes ball and play time is higher than anyone else in the league, which you look at them, but they haven't won a game. So I think their intentions are right. It's just they've been a little bit unlucky.
As I said, we've got a good squad going forward. A lot of chances. A lot of the youngsters, have, as we've mentioned, are sticking their hand up.
Yeah.
Which takes notice. Above in the club as well. Looking at Cardiff Rugby.
Mackenzie Martin asking to come and play when in game time. That's what this league's about. Accommodating someone like him. He's young in his playing days. And if he needs to come play, get those minutes in the bank. I think that's what we're here for. And ultimately, all you want to do as a youngster is just keep playing week in, week out, keep improving, keep getting better, and we've seen that from the boys this year.
Well, thanks very much for joining us, boys. Diolch. Hopefully, when we come back for the end of block 2, I'll have the same position on my notebook. So thanks very much for joining us. Diolch. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Because we're Cardiff born, Cardiff bred. When I dies, I'll be Cardiff dead. They'll build a little plotting splot in there.